West Coast Gatsby. That's another song that I made 2 years ago. And I'll be honest, I haven't been focusing on music. But in a way, it might have made my music better because I'm not obsessed with it. I don't really have the means of production I used to have. I don't have a bunch of buddies sitting around playing all the time. I probably made my best music when I was younger, and it's just been a steady decline over a decade, to be quite honest. And it really does kind of wear you down, sadly. But it has gotten more literary. So, to tell you what I was doing when I wrote West Coast Gatsby, I was listening to a lot of Belle and Sebastian, actually. Because I truly was too intelligent, to be quite honest. That's what I couldn't realize when I was on all the pot, and I was, should I say the cool names for pot, you know? What are the cool names for pot? Smoke. Was it on that smoke, right? I don't know. What are the rap names for pot these days? Kush. Oh, God. I don't know. I feel like pot sounds like a 60s term. Anyway, it's not even cool anymore. I don't know. As soon as it got legal, it wasn't cool anymore. But, yeah, I was doing it. You know, I was stupider and stupider. The songs that are very stupid that I put out, like Jean Jacket, you know, that was influenced by that. And those guys, I don't know. My music eventually got dumber and dumber because of it, and I couldn't finish songs. And those guys who are like, hey, we smoked pot with Bob Dylan in New York City, and it's the strangest sort of monarchy I've ever seen with these ones. These, whatever they are, you know, I don't idolize these people. I think they're lying, is what I'm saying. If they were really as high as they always said they were, it is fun, you know, going to what's equivalent to like a K-hole or something, a reefer hole. I don't know what you'd call it. A bowl hole. and kind of just tune out and like let the THC take you, and you start imagining better. And then you start writing songs. But eventually you can't piece those songs together well, is what happens. So that initial spark, you know, you might be a bit more creative, you feel good, and you write a song. But if you're always smoking weed, you can't actually finish them. So, yeah, that's kind of, I don't know. I felt like I needed to redevelop an intelligence. I went back to school. I was living in Kenosha, okay? And I gave up on society. I gave up. It was terrible. After COVID, everything was terrible in my life. It wasn't great before COVID, but at least I was having some fun. At least I was creating, and I didn't feel as tied down. And after COVID, I could not muster the strength to continue as a musician, really. But I wanted to keep writing, and I went to college because I'm a smart fella, right? I'm a smart young man. I always was. So I kind of try and find myself again, and I'm in Kenosha because I couldn't bear another trip across the hinterland, and I'm kind of a moron, okay? I'm kind of a moron, and I kind of wanted to escape. But I'm not exactly a moron because you do want to get the hell out of these cities, you know? It will kill your soul quickly to be in a city for too long. But 90% of this country is unlivable, to be quite honest. You know why? Because tornadoes. That's another story. But I figure I'll go to Kenosha. I love Kenosha. It's a good town, okay? Kenosha is a spiritual home of mine. And I went to UW Parkside. I used to sleep in the parking lot and write the songs there. And eventually I enroll. And I go a couple years ago. And there I am. And it was nice. It was nice to tune out and study art. I get why people get these art degrees, okay? I get it now. And maybe if I was a wiser, more cunning individual like Lily Trafilio or, Vince Gilligan, I might have gone to NYU or DePaul. I was not a cunning individual. I was still a moron, and I still am a moron. But also, I don't know if I have the I have too much of a spine to I'm in the car, by the way. You might hear cars passing by. You can only find peace in your car these days, unless you're some kind of gambling millionaire. But yeah, I end up being a moron at Parkside, and I wasn't gonna build an art career studying art at Parkside, but I loved it. You know, there were decent people. It was a very good environment. If you want to get the hell out of Chicago, if you move to Wisconsin, the quality of people you will get is like 3 times as good. Like, this city has ripped the soul from every individual in it. Every city has done that. And yeah, you can only live in like B tier cities if you're not a sociopath or a psychopath. It's only the only livable places are B tier cities in the US. So I go to a B tier city. I go to Kenosha or whatever it is. I don't know. I love Kenosha. It's the veil is thin, right? That's a meme now. The veil is thin. You can see. I don't want to talk about Kenosha because I don't want anyone moving there, right? I don't want people to move there. And you can't move there unless you're a digital nomad or whatever. That's why I ended up leaving, because I couldn't afford it on a little college student's loans, and I was delivering food still. You know, I'm a real bum, okay? I work a lot, you know? I work and it doesn't matter. I'm like Sixto Rodriguez. I'm going to suffer a miserable fate in the Midwest and die of COPD, you know? Like, it's over. It's so over. I missed the Lily Trafilio boat, you know? I missed there it goes my cease and desist probably. What did I say? I didn't say anything. I can't speak a name, right? You know, I missed the boat. I'm not the Walters. I'm not MGMT, you know? I'm not a fortunate son, okay? So I missed the boat. And hey, a part of it's my fault, you know? That's what I'm saying. Is these guys, a lot of people had good ideas, go to good arts colleges, and I'm in Kenosha, but I'm chilling, you know? I am chilling. Nobody's fucking with me in Kenosha. And that's what I like about it. And I'm there, and I'm just studying the freaking Rococo, I'm a shock jock, right? The fucking Rococo, right? The fucking Rococo. You know, I don't know who the audience is for this. I deal with legitimate media people. I deal with religious media, and they will kill you if you swear. And it's such a mess. It is such a mess. The broadcast world, the YouTube world, there is no center. And I don't know what to do, you know? So anyway, I'm going to swear, whatever. The Rococo, so many rules, and it's insane. And I'm going on about the Rococo, and I meet some nice people. They teach me about the Rococo. They teach me about De Zica. They teach me about Godard, and you know, it's real stuff. I wanted to know this stuff for a long time, and I don't regret it. You know, I don't know. What do I regret? I only regret not going to the most elite institution possible. Okay, so the economy's getting worse. I'm understanding that most professors are on a $20,000 a year salary adjuncting, and it's very sad, you know. And I'm delivering food to survive, and going into massive debt, and living above a group of like 6 Indians, right? And I'm renting a little house in Kenosha above 6 Indians in their little family that's just moved to the country. It's extremely loud. It smells like their food. Yeah, they were okay. Like, they were decent people. They wanted my money, though, you know? And they wanted my money. They weren't gonna, you know. So I have this relationship with this family. It's so strange. It's a strange life. You know, I'm going to end up dead. Someone's going to kill me just for talking about all this. That's the thing, you know. That's why I don't make these videos and I don't talk about these things. Because someone's going to come and shoot me like Charlie, you know. And, you know, not for my political opinion, just because there's so much fraud, you know. There's just so much secrets, you know. That's why it's all just like girls with no clothes singing about their boyfriends, because if you were to sing, like Kurt Cobain was to sing today, he'd just be like, yeah, Epstein murdered my town in Washington, and I'm so angry and sad. And then he wouldn't get any play because he'd say the word Epstein, right? So it's like, I can't talk about the guy who did all the kids. I can't talk about my life. It's all fraud, my life's fraud. Anyway, yeah, I mean, you talk about, I bought a soda today, and the guy who gave me the soda was here illegally, and if I mention that, people get pissed, right? And I don't give a shit, like, it's not even a political opinion. I'm just saying everything is so dark, and there's so little you can actually say about anything. But yeah, I'm living much above these Indians, and it's sketchy place, but it was okay. I mean, that's what I mean. I don't know. It was a weird time, and I'm pissed because I keep hearing their children, and I keep hearing, just tons of noise, tons of smells. But I've got my own apartment, okay? $1,000 a month, $1,000 to live above 6 Indians, and I feel bad, right? Because there's like 6 of them in this little apartment, right? And I'm like living up there. And I'm like, okay, do you want me to leave so your grandparents can come up here? They're like, no, we need the money. And I'm like, so it's a very strange situation. And I come home every day. And eventually I start tutoring at the school. It gets a little better. But for like a year there, maybe 6 months there, to a year, 9 months, I'm just delivering food to make money and going into massive debt to get some dumb degree because I don't know what else to do in my life. And I'm in Kenosha. And I'll tell you, suffering in Kenosha is a more doable thing. Even with your like crappy apartment, suffering in Kenosha is more tolerable than suffering in Chicago. It is. Okay, there's no neighborhood where you're going to get killed. There's maybe a couple, but, like a few blocks. There's a lake that isn't owned by these awful elites in Evanston, So I'm dreaming it up there. I have some kind of dream because the decency of Kenosha is still there. And you can buy a loaf of bread for $1, from the Paes, and the Jews do a lot for people there. I need to say this because, I don't want to be labeled a political account, and I need to say this. I feel like the Shalom Center, there's a Jewish charity that helps tons of people in Kenosha. Just wanted to put that out there. But yeah, it's a place, if you're poor, you're not miserable. If you're poor in a city, you are like a cockroach and they oppress you. They want to watch you die. It's bad, So I'm poor in Kenosha and I'm learning about the world, right? Because I was tuned out in my early 20s, high all the time, spending all the money I was supposed to have for college, okay? And I paid for college all on my own in Kenosha, and I went into a ton of debt, okay? So I'm there, my debt money, chilling like a villain, doing very well at college, by the way. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you do well in college, I'll be honest with you. But I think it does at the time. I'm naive, and I'm studying away, learning about the Rococo. Okay, I'm learning about the Rococo and the Zika and just these nice things that I wanted to learn about, okay? And yeah, and I start thinking, I'm listening to Belle and Sebastian. I'm like, I could write songs with a greater artistic quality. And I feel like I should write again. And I swore it all off. This was my tailor. I had a tailor for a bit of time. In Kenosha, I stepped on my Taylor guitar. And my Taylor guitar, it cracked. And the head was cracked. It was so sad. And my nice Taylor, I wrote a lot of nice songs on it. A lot of those finger-picking things I did in Spanish, that was the Taylor. But this song was written on the Taylor as well. I'm not sure if it was before it cracked when I stepped on it or after. But I sit one day and I'm just thinking, I really like Scott Fitzgerald, okay? I do like Scott Fitzgerald's work, especially how funny it is. I think he's a funny writer. And I think he's a real poet, okay? There's a real music to Fitzgerald's writing. And he's a really smart guy, too. And I've had a strange relationship with Scott Fitzgerald. I went to a haunted area in Asheville, okay? There's a haunted area in Asheville where Scott Fitzgerald's is said to have tended to his schizophrenic wife, okay? So I'm in Asheville. I felt his spirit there, and it was he gave me a vision. I saw Scott Fitzgerald with no eyes, and I felt this strongly. Okay, I was isolated in a hotel rooms for a few months then, and I was meditating and praying during COVID, and I saw him. You're gonna say I'm crazy. I don't care. I mean, it's the internet age. I'm crazy, sure, whatever. But anyway, I had this weird vision of him where his eyeballs were murky, and I saw his eyeballs very plainly, and he opens his tongue. It was disgusting, really, and he spits out word. And you see, I can say this because I do back it up with the talent, where maybe this is true. Maybe he did do this, because it happened. I had this vision there in Asheville, and he spits out a ball of words, and it was like a dream. It might have just been a dream, but it felt like when I was when you meditate, you go between dream and wake, right? And it felt like that space, and I was in deep meditation in that space, and I see him, he drops his hand, and there's a ball of words, but I can't read the words. I can't read the words that Scott Fitzgerald wrote. And I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And I feel like this is an allegory for my life. There's Scott Fitzgerald with his murky, swirling eyeballs, like a gray swirling eyeball. And he spits out into his hand a ball. And it unfolds. And I see words. But I can't read the words. And then I wake up. Okay? That's what happened in Asheville at the Grove Park Inn. So I'm at the Grove Park Inn, and so then years later, I'm back in Chicago. I'm broke again. It's a bad time. It's an okay time. This was an okay time. There have been worse times. But I'm there studying art, and I it's a loving environment. It's a small school, Parkside. Nobody's trying to fuck with me, okay? And I'm actually learning some things. Nobody's there for the money, okay? And I'm learning. I learned more in Parkside than Madison, to be quite honest. And I decide, hey, I love Scott Fitzgerald. I love Gatsby. I wanted to, and I love that I only take influence, I'll tell you. I only take influence these days from authors and writers either outside the country of the U.S., like Belle and Sebastian, the Libertines, others, I can't think of any more right now. Those are big influences of mine. Belle and Sebastian, Libertines, people outside this chaotic, soulless place. And also very, very far in the past authors and artists, such as, I think I have more to learn from Mark Twain and Scott Fitzgerald than I do from Bob Dylan at this point, because it's just such a different attitude towards American life that's, I think, re-establishing itself. It's a darker period, really. And I think Scott Fitzgerald is the perfect author to read right now. Just the entrenched sort of classist vibes of his writing, but also the intellectual thoroughbred nature of it. In an age of stupid, I don't think an AI could write like he did, So I'm taking inspiration. Belle and Sebastian is these great literary songs where they're just very cunning, very witty with their writing. And I say, hey, I'm going to try it out. I'm isolated. I'm living my twee little art life. And I sit on the edge of my bed and I pull out that Taylor and I just start going. And I place this phone that I'm talking to right now. I place this phone on top of the Taylor, the baby Taylor. And I start going, West Coast Gatsby, Selena, Superman. And I think I'm writing a paper or something. And I had this idea. And the paper is bullshit. The paper, who cares? I read it now, it's crap, And I'm writing it. But I'm also thinking about this paper, and I researched. So it was about Elon and Grimes and the comparisons to the old days of John D. Rockefeller and, those types, J.P. Morgan. And it's just kind of how absurd it all is kind of my vibe, my thinking. So I say, West Coast Gatsby. Where's our West Coast Gatsby? Where's our good guy, rich guy, right? Where's our tragic... If I'm going to write about these people, who am I going to write about? That's what I start thinking. And I say, who's West Coast Gatsby? Who's the bootlegger? Who's this one I should look up to? That Scott Fitzgerald said, oh, he's the counter elite, right? Because that's how they all started. They were all counter elites, right? Mark Zuckerberg said, you're not going to work 9 to 5. You're going to come here and you're going to sit in a beanbag chair and we're all going to drink it at 2 o'clock, mimosas. And it's going to be, we're changing, no more of this evil stuff. No way, that didn't happen. So who is the West Coast Gatsby, right? Who is the guy counter-signaling Tom Buchanan and running these drugs, right? And what I love about Gatsby, too, is it's like a slap in the face of this so-called economy, right? This economy where it's like, he's a rich man. The funny thing about Gatsby, he's a bootlegger. But it flips it on its head that he's the bootlegger and Tom Buchanan's the legitimate guy, but he's the good guy and he's the bootlegger. I don't know, I agree with now. I don't think a crypto guy is a good guy, But, it's funny. So I'm just thinking about these rich guys. That's what I'm doing, okay? And I'm thinking, these were interesting books to think about this with. And I start going, West Coast Gatsby, Selena, Superman. Okay, so Selena, Superman. Salinas, that's a town outside of... It's in the center. It's by Big Sur. I have a friend out there. They run little wine shows now. They do wine open mics. I wish I was in Salinas. I wish I would go. I could play a show happily in Salinas more than I could in Chicago. That's for sure. So yeah, I had a friend out there. I went there and I made some music with him once. And it's a lovely town. And there's so much history and it's so reclusive. Salinas was... California. There's John Steinbeck, and it's so untapped still. Like they never really built it. It's not San Francisco, it's not LA. It's so I call him Salinas Superman. I say, he's the guy and that's whipping the migrants, right? The Mexicans, because this has been going on, this Mexican thing, since like 1900, 1800, like this has been a thing for how long with Cesar Chavez. So yeah, I'm thinking about Cesar Chavez and John Steinbeck, and I'm saying, hey, is Elon Musk the Salinas Superman? Is he their hero? Probably not. So it's sarcastic, West Coast Gatsby, Salinas Superman. Watch them pick those leafy greens for you. Pretty self-explanatory. They grow a lot of lettuce there. And then whip their backs with your silicone, right? It's a vibe. And I don't think when I'm writing. That's what I mean. I mean, the pot does help. Like, being high on THC does help you kind of not think. But eventually, you can do these things while sober. It just comes out of you if it's going to happen. So, Selena, Superman, THC for you. That should be a line. Have some THC for you, right? That's a good second verse. So yeah, watch them pick and then whip them with your silicone. They use silicone on the computers, and then whip their backs with you. And your Harvard and Stanford's falling down. Yeah, I mean, the colleges are a ridiculous scheme, especially in these communities, especially in these sort of San Francisco types. The colleges, Jesus Christ. They love their colleges. So, yeah, Harvard and Stanford's falling down. I mean, after that Epstein thing, the credibility of those institutions, the amount of people on their payroll that, are just totally corrupt, and, what's his face, that creepy guy. Oh my God. The one who got a massage that they trot out. Oh God. What is his name? You know his name. He's like a Harvard professor, and he comes on TV and he just like lies openly now, and he's just like a known like buyer of children. I don't even know his name. He's like a lawyer. You know who I'm talking about. But yeah, he's like a Harvard guy. So yeah, it's all fallen down. That's what I realized in 2022 even. And I'm thinking about that clock tower. I'm thinking about Stanford. And that's what I'm thinking about. So Harvard and Stanford's falling down. Maybe I could change the line of Stanford Towers falling down. I'm thinking about that one big building, because they don't build high there, but I like that little Stanford Tower, and I'm thinking about it. Stanford's falling down, Stanford's falling down, there's nothing you could do. So yeah, I mean, there's nothing that the people can do. Maybe Gatsby can't even save it, And amongst old San Francisco, amongst cold San Francisco, amongst cold San Francisco, that's kind of cool. Amongst old, it's supposed to be old. Amongst old San Francisco, I like San Francisco now, though, it's funnier. Amongst old San Francisco, so that's a double play on words, okay? This is kind of cool what I did here. I have watched every episode of the TV show Monk with Tony Shalhoub, okay? Tony Shalhoub is a Lebanese guy from Green Bay. I have a lot in common with Tony Shalhoub. He seems like a decent guy, okay? And he made this beautiful show in San Francisco, very underrated TV show. It's called Monk. Awesome TV show. I really like Monk. I watched every episode. It's just good, wholesome. It's like the positive vibes of like the 90s, 2000s, whatever was left of the positive energy in the country. Just a lot of charm, a lot of love. It's a great show. And yeah, they show San Francisco, and I don't know if they even filmed there, really. I don't know what. They might have just said it was there, but they filmed somewhere else. I don't know. But yeah, it was a cool show. So Monk's old San Francisco. So the old America, okay? Just this beautiful city, a lot of hope, a lot of promise when he made this show, 2001. Monk's old San Francisco. But it's a double entendre, because you can interpret that as a Monk's old San Francisco. And what did they do in I'm running out of breath. What did they do in San Francisco in the 60s? They were like monks, right? They were trying to be holy people, trying to get into spirituality. So you could take it as, hey, a monk's old San Francisco, this old spiritual place, this old hippie place where the monks are. That's gone, right? Is gone to the dogs. Who are the dogs, right? Who are the dogs? The dogs are the tech guys, right? The dogs are the Chinese, Indians, everybody, South Africans, right? Just gunning at it. Just taking this nice town over. Because it's nice. I mean, it's like rape. It's like a rape city, really. They take a gorgeous city and they just rape it. That's what it is. It's like a Greek tragedy, or like the city of Troy or something. And so it's gone to the dogs. It's gone to the dogs. But I question it once again. And I say, hey, so they say that's happening, but is that just on the old news? And I give a little hope, because I can talk into my phone and say whatever I want. Okay? I can say whatever the hell I want on my phone. So, hey, maybe that's just old news. Maybe that's just broadcast telling me that. Maybe it's broadcast telling me to be scared. So, hey, so they say on the old news. Who knows what's happening, right? So, it goes on. So they say on the old news. Yeah, Monk's old San Francisco. I'll repeat that. Monk's old San Francisco's gone to the dogs. And then all that just repeats again. And I changed a verse in the recent recording I did with Chris Clark. I have a new buddy I record with. He gives me really cheap studio time. He's my only friend. No, he's not my only friend. He's my only musical friend who's really worth seeing anymore. I recorded with this British guy in Chicago. I've got friends. I'm doing okay, right? It's not the worst time in my life. But as for music, I only have this British guy who's a little studio. But anyway, I go in there and I come up with a little part. When will you come back? Or where did you go? Well, no. West Coast Gatsby, we're all waiting here for you. When will you come back? That's not in the popular recording that I did. Oh, by the way, this all came out in about 5 minutes on the seat of my bed in Kenosha, Wisconsin, on top of the Indian's house, right? So all of that in the original recording, which is West Coast Gatsby, Selena Superman, all this, that recording that has like 600 views right now, that was just on the spur of the moment. I did not edit that or sit and write it. That's all spur of the moment. So this is how I think, it's like a racehorse, and it all comes out. And I'm just like, this is great. I did edit a little bit to like tweak it so that the bridge happens twice, and so I did a little bit of editing, and I think I played certain parts over each other in the end as like an outro. But yeah, all of that was written in 10 minutes on the side of my bed in Kenosha, and I recorded it at the same time. So you're hearing me write it and record it in my little bed in Kenosha. It's pretty cool, right? So anyway, this is long, right? But this is my life, People listen to this song, so you might as well know what it's about. So they say on the old news, yeah, amongst all. So basically, that's the whole song. It repeats those couple of ideas about Salinas and San Francisco. And then you get this bridge, okay? You get this bridge. I sound like Tim Dillon. And then, I don't want to sound like Tim Dillon. But you get this bridge, okay? This bridge comes out of nowhere. And the bridge is probably the most controversial part of the song. So I want to say something about that. So the bridge goes, what is it? I've got my beautiful bride, my Daisy Buchanan. She plays the harpsichord and does jumping jacks. She's got purple hair. She talks like she's 12. Okay, don't come at me with that, right? I'm thinking about a lot when I'm writing this. And I could have edited that out. Oh, it's too scary. I'm going to scare the hoes, right? Like, fuck the hoes, right? Like, they're scary enough on their own. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking about these. I wasn't thinking, right? Like, I'm not thinking about these lines. It's like subconscious. It's like Scott Fitzgerald in my dreams spitting out the words. It's more of an oracle type thing. It's not coming from me. It's coming from another source. The subconscious is organizing. God is working through me. And it rarely happens. I'm not saying I'm God, right? I'm saying if I study enough and I learn enough and I experience enough, that's the key to songwriting. You need to experience things. If I'm trapped in Indianapolis and I have no friends, I'm not going to write a good song. You can talk to John Lennon, and there's a John Lennon recordings where he's talking about how he used to go on a cruise, and he hadn't picked up guitar in 5 years, and he would write 5 songs after the cruise and being on a speedboat, because it's about experiences too. It's about emotions that you're feeling as an artist. You actually need to be inspired and active or nothing. That's why we don't make art anymore, because everyone is depressed. If you are depressed and miserable, you'll make the blues, the Delta blues, and that's all you can do, right? So anyway, I'm feeling a little energetic when I'm writing this. And I'm having an okay time in Kenosha. And I'm writing. And I'm thinking about what I've been learning about. So the 2 influences for that verse are Grimes, the singer Grimes, Elon's baby mama, right? And strangely enough, the other influence is Barry Lyndon. I think that's the name. Barry Lyndon by Kubrick. Because I'm studying film, right? So I'm studying film, and I'm watching Barry Lyndon by Kubrick, and it's about the Victorian era, right? And they're all, I think, Victorian. I'm not that smart, really, but I just see the vibe and I write, right? So I see these player pianos that are, they're, harpsichords. That's what I say. She plays the harpsichord, like a Victorian in Barry Lyndon, right? So it used to be that girls would play piano only, and men would not dare to play piano because piano is girly. That's how it used to be. So the harpsichord used to be something that girls would play to impress men. And in Barry Lyndon, I'm pretty sure they do that, and it was in my subconscious. So, and I'm thinking a lot about Grimes with that bridge. How old was Grimes when she got with Elon? Like 18, right? Like 20? And I'm just thinking, all this Epstein stuff. And it's a sarcastic bridge, okay? And that's why I don't want people saying you're a pedo, Saad. You're a pedo. I'm not a pedo, okay? It's not me narrating the song. Okay, I don't actually like I don't like Gatsby, okay? I don't think Gatsby, I think the character of Gatsby is kind of weird to look up to nowadays. So, anyway, Elon and Grimes are the inspiration. And I'm thinking about Elon's perspective, right? And Gatsby's perspective. Elon only wants to be loved. And Gatsby, he only wants love. So that's what I'm thinking about. But, I'm also thinking about how it's like the Madonna whore complex. It's like, I need a perfect woman who's going to save me, and that's worth more than money, right? So it goes, West Coast Gatsby, the bridge. I've got my beautiful bride, my Daisy Buchanan. That's who Daisy is. She's like Grimes, the manic pixie dream girl. Grimes, Daisy Buchanan, Clementine from Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. They're all manic pixie dream girls. So Elon's got his manic pixie dream girl. And I'm thinking about myself here's my big California dream, right? It's to marry an 18-year-old. I mean, it's everywhere now. Anthony Kiedis has a 16-year-old girlfriend. That's defamation. She's 19. Okay, whatever. Everybody dates older guys. It's so bizarre. The age of feminism has wrought levels of ancient sexuality not seen since the 1800s, right? Look at Kayleigh McEnany, is that her name? Look at the 28-year-old with a 60-year-old's child in the Trump administration. This is your millennial woman, right? This is life now. Here's an interesting one. Scooter Braun and the girl who's basically a prostitute, Sydney Sweeney, right? Scooter Braun is 40. And, I don't care that much about this stuff, but it's just interesting to me. It's just, and I'm not thinking when I'm writing this, but it's the zeitgeist. It's in the subconscious. But yeah, Scooter Braun's 40 and she's 28. And it's I don't know. It's just kind of why is this happening? What is the economic condition that's created this? And is it natural? I don't know. And it seems very medieval is what it is. It seems medieval to me. So it's just another sign of the Dark Ages. People can't just be happy in normal relationships anymore. And I don't care that much. I'm not a Puritan. I have had weird relationships too. But it's kind of a weird phenomena that we're basically economically screwed by basically kings and queens. Okay, these are kings and queens. It's even worse than Scott Fitzgerald's writing, or his classy sort of, post robber baron sort of, improving country. It's literally we're in serfdom. So yeah, the serfs and everything. Anyway, I don't want to get into it too much. But yeah, I say, I've got my beautiful bride, this thing I'm lusting after, this object of the green light, my Daisy Buchanan. And then it's a joke about women having to be magical creatures for these guys. It's a feminist piece, okay? I wrote a feminist piece. And she plays the harpsichord and does jumping jacks. She's got purple hair. She talks like she's 12. So the last line is obviously the most controversial. I don't actually say she is 12. That'd be too weird and creepy. She talks like she's 12. So if you heard a baby voice, if you heard of Family Guy, Joe's wife is an example of this. And when you hear Grimes talk, she talks like she's a child. That's what's creepy about Grimes and Elon and everything Grimes does, is she talks like she's a child. Okay, she acts and talks like she's a child. I don't think it's manic or pixie. It's just kind of weird. So that's kind of what I'm getting at. So, yeah, I've got my beautiful bride, my Daisy Buchanan. She plays the harpsichord and does jumping jacks. So a woman's going to solve all your problems. All these guys just want a woman, right? In theory. I'm just exploring the idea. Yeah, so she plays the harpsichord, does jumping jacks. She's got purple hair. And I'm getting at these stupid culture wars. Like, oh, I'm Elon. I'm very autistic and I'm into science because I'm a man and I'm ambitious and I like money. It's so freaking disgustingly weird. Like, it's so, like, why can't men just be, like, Italian guys? Like, are all Italian guys just gay women to these people? Like, what is in the genes? Like, I've never met a Mediterranean guy who's, like, this, like, bizarre, you know? In terms of, like, these strict gender roles of STEM and boringness. He has a company called The Boring Company, right? And he marries this girl who's supposed to be super interesting and artsy. And it's like, can only women be artsy and interesting in this culture? Is that the only people who are allowed to be artsy and interesting? And that's what I'm thinking about. And it's this, like, lusting after these so-called art hoes. And I'm just like, you know, there are guys out there who are just good at art. Like, that's who made most, if not all, of the movies and songs were guys, right? So it's kind of weird the way, especially these technology bros, they just completely think that doesn't exist. And that they want girls to be as artsy and weird and childlike as possible. Which is just, like, barbaric. That's what I mean. It's medieval. It's like only the girls can play piano in Barry Lyndon. So that's what I'm thinking about going into this. She plays the harpsichord and does jumping jacks. She's got purple hair and she talks like she's 12. So that's like your typical sort of autistically inclined, dead inside. And, you know, those, that's what I mean. Everyone's a martyr. These guys literally admit to having autism. I had to stop myself. Oh, God, I called them autistic. They admit to it, right? But I'm saying autism is like an obsession with them, with math and science, right? And for some reason, they have like these Neanderthal-like and sort of Victorian medieval predilections where only women can be artistic and outgoing. And women have to act like polite children, right? Which is, it is a feminist thing I'm trying to say with it. So I just want to clear that up. And that's the whole song. That's West Coast Gatsby. And I've been writing books called American Wealth and Creation Stories. American Wealth and Creation Stories is very on the nose. I basically took all these ideas and I wrote like a 100-page book at this point. And it's about whole different characters, but it's a lot of this type of thinking going into it. And I'll put that out if anyone's going to read it. You know, I'm only putting this out because a few people have actually enjoyed these talks. And you're the only thing that keeps me going right now. You know, I'm a bum. You know, I'll tell you more about what I've been through the last few years in a few other videos. But I'm still a bum, you know. But it's great art. And I got to at least tell you what I'm thinking about it and explain it a little bit, I guess. I wish I didn't have to. You know, I wish it could exist as an avant-garde piece. And people would speculate, but I'm not that cool. I'm not so lucky, you know. I missed the boat. So here I am telling you my story. Thank you for listening again. Please listen to West Coast Gatsby. I have like 4 different versions. I didn't even talk about those recordings. I have a few band recordings with it, with a full band. It sounds kind of cool with a full band. It has some energy. It's not a downer song. So check it out if you got the time. Great piece. Thank you, guys. Everyone who's been commenting that we still listen to your music, we still like you. You guys keep me going. I legitimately don't even know what to do with myself at this point. And to know that at least somebody's out there who at least enjoys what I'm doing still, it means a lot. And 45 minutes of content here. Wow. All right. I'm going to sign off. That's a good place to end. But thank you if you actually think I am an artist. I don't even know if I am anymore. I guess I feel like Scott Fitzgerald too, right? And he was far more successful than me. But yeah, a lot of good artists just die broke, right? So it's kind of getting to that point. And I just want to at least tell the story while I still can, right? While I have the time right now. So thanks, guys.